Welcome back, everyone. And today we've got probably the strangest input device that we've looked at ever. That is the Tourbox Neo here. And this was sent to us by Tourbox, and basically it looks like they've sent us a retail unit and a little testing reference guide going through some of their software settings. I'll cover a lot of that when we get to the full review. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get this out. Very simple, very understated, just kind of a black box with all of 3 pieces of printed information on it. Actually, I think 2 of them might be stickers. So we've got a Tourbox Tech ink sticker on the back telling us that it's a 5-volt, 50 milliamp device. That's nothing. The ultimate controller for creators and Tourbox are both embossed on the front. And this Neo bit is, yep, that's also adhered to it. That's it. That's all the information that's on the box. So what's inside the black box? Well, what is inside the black box is a very thick quick start guide, some safety instructions, and then 2 little bags. Not the best, not the worst feeling bags. I would have preferred a more fabric feel. And inside this one we have the Tourbox itself. And this thing, let's check the other baggie first. The other bag is a USB Type-C cable. Nice braided, stiff Type-C cable for the Tourbox. So this thing is a Type-C input box. And that's probably the best way I can describe it. Now, we've talked a little bit about unique input devices before. When we covered the Logitech Craft keyboard, which I actually have on the shelf here, we talked about this button, how because it was context aware and because you could use it in Photoshop or Photoshop or Illustrator or Premiere, and depending on what you did, if it clicked or if you rotated or if you pushed and rotated, you could do different functions based on the application. And I said, this is a $200 keyboard, but if that knob, saves you enough time, it's worth spending that much money on a keyboard. People spend more money than that on keyboards anyway. But this is, I think, like $130. I'll put the price in text here. I don't know it off the top of my head. It gives you a ton of buttons for exactly that same type of function. So in the quick start guide, they talk about installing their software and the default layouts, which are looks like they're showing it for probably Premiere, where we've got step forward, step backwards, we've got stamp and eraser brush tools. That's actually Photoshop sounding. I guess these are just some examples, going through how I have different buttons with different shapes. I have 3 different rotary devices, all of which click. Got a button here. I've got some buttons on the side. These are all very satisfying feeling switches on these as well. I hope that's coming through on the camera. So overall, how many does it say that we have? I feel like it's going to be a decent double-digit number. So it doesn't actually give me a total input count. So let's just go through them real quick. So we have a top button. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. regular buttons, 3 clickable wheels, and then 3 different rotary devices. So we've got 17 total different inputs, some of which, the rotaries can be left and right or forward and back, which gives you 2 inputs on the same device. And then it actually, makes note of some of these being used as a shift. So you could set it up and say, if I press the short button and turn the knob, jump forward 1 second or 1 frame per click. And if I don't press that, jump forward 10 seconds or 10 frames per click. So you can do that kind of stuff in their software. I've looked through that a little bit already. Quick Start Guide is actually only as thick as it is because it's just in a bunch of different languages. It really just gives you some examples of how things are programmed. It tells you to plug it in via USB-C. Can be used with mouse and tablet and keyboard and all those things. And a little bit of information about the Tourbox console, which is their software suite for working with it. So that's what this is. I like the weight. I like the clickiness of the buttons. I'm looking forward to programming this to deal with some of the stuff that I use day to day in Shotcut, and hopefully this ends up being the winner, or not the winner, but a fantastic addition. Honestly, the only thing I don't like is this bag. You can hear it. It feels cheap. It's kind of feels like windbreaker material almost, compared to. Well, actually, I don't have any of them in here, but compared to bags that we've gotten with things like the ASIO Retro Classic or some of the various portable power banks and things of that nature, it's just not a good bag. I mean, if that's my biggest complaint on this thing, that the bag that it came with isn't great, you can buy a better one. So yeah, this is going to be interesting because there's 2 groups of people that I can see using a device like this, and one of them already has a device that is really laser focused on them, and that is streamers. They have the Stream Decks. I actually have a Stream Deck on my desk already, and that's great if you need to change what you're doing day to day and can take the time to look at it. And what I mean by that is the Stream Deck, it doesn't matter if it's the Stream Deck Mini, which is the one that I have on my desk, all the way up to the XL, they're just a big rectangle full of square buttons. So by feel, you can't tell which button you're touching. On this, each one of these has a different texture. This has little grooves across it. This one is both shorter and smooth. I guess these don't actually have a different texture. These buttons are just next to each other. But all 3 rotary devices have different textures. This one is smooth, but it's wide and short, so you can feel what button you're touching. I can't do that on the Stream Deck. If you always used it for the same thing every day, eventually you would learn it with muscle memory. For how I use my Stream Deck, that tends to be a non-issue because what I do is I program it for a meeting or program it for a presentation that I'm getting or that I'm doing, and I go and I put all my stuff on my different buttons, and then I'll pull new icons on there to show me this one is my spreadsheet, this one is a Visio diagram, this one is a picture of the building or a piece of computer equipment, whatever it may be. But that does not lend itself, and I stopped using it for video editing because I was always jumping through menus and was having to look at it to tell what I was doing. So, depending on who you are, this may be something that complements a Stream Deck as a streamer. You could put audio controls on these knobs and various lighting functions. As a editor, this is great. It doesn't look as flashy because I can't see, I can't program any OLEDs on it. But that's not inherently a bad thing either. They put a lot of time into making sure that you could tell which button was which. Alright, so that's enough rambling. That's just a quick, who's the Tourbox for? It's for video editors, streamers, anyone who really just wants a bunch of buttons that they can program to do things. I'm going to get their software loaded up on my desktop. I've poked at it on my laptop a little bit, trying to think of how I would set up some profiles. And we're going to put it into action. Obviously, I'd like to thank Tourbox for sending it to us. This was one of those fun, interesting things we got to see during CES. I also want to thank Electrix for providing our opening and closing themes. I want to thank anyone who uses our Amazon affiliate links or helps support us on Patreon. It is stuff like that that helps keep these videos coming. I know I say that every single video, but it really is, guys. It's not just the company sending us some of these things to review or look at. There are days where you could send me all the PCs in the world, and I just don't care. But it is the support of people who watch the channel, people who comment on our videos and support us financially in certain ways that helps make this worthwhile for us. So thank you. And finally, thank you for watching.